Welcome to another episode of Image Rights by N. Mashinini, the only podcast dedicated to image rights in Africa and around the globe. Hi everyone. I have been planning to and somewhat avoiding showing my face on video, but I realized that it's finally time for me to just do this, regardless of my background, regardless of how I look, and regardless of whether I have a script or not. I just need to do it. So welcome to another episode of Image Rights by N. Mashinini. So as I was preparing for this second season of the show, I found myself firstly trying to find African scholars and legal practitioners to come and talk to us about image rights in other African countries. And I had a very interesting encounter, which I thought I would start and discuss it in this first episode, because I felt conflicted that here I am advocating for a socially and economically advanced approach to the protection of image rights, but I'm being requested by a potential guest to pay some sum of money in order for him to appear on this research podcast. So it's not really a matter that frustrated me or irritated me in any way, but I thought it interesting about how it put me in a conflicting position where I said to this guy, listen, I don't pay people to do interviews on my show. I don't have that kind of money. This is a research podcast and it's about educating the global community about the protection of image rights around the world, which is why in the first season I did a study of South Africa, UK, US, and in this second season I'm looking at the African jurisprudence and legal framework around image rights. So I had to then think about the possibility of providing my guests with an honorarium. But at the same time, I have to balance it out with my ability at the moment, as well as with the ethics around paying someone to come and give us a talk about such a serious and important matter in today's world on social media. And so I resolved it by simply saying to this guy, I think let's forfeit your interview and I will look at my policies for my image rights podcast, and I will decide on whether or not in future I want to call you back and actually pay you for an interview. But the interesting thing for me was this issue that if I'm going to upload someone's material on a podcasting host platform or say YouTube, there's a very high possibility that on YouTube it could commercialize if I enlist it as a commercialized publication. But at the same time, I could list it as a non-commercial publication. Therefore, YouTube wouldn't pay me for it. But I can never ever preempt or anticipate whether someone would be generous and give me a donation for purposes of continuing with the work that I do on this platform. So this was what created a bit of a conflict of interest for me, because here I was saying to this guy, I can't pay you and I'm not going to get paid for doing this either, but I can never know what kind of funding I will draw in for this kind of work, especially because I am a scholar, I'm a legal academic, and so obviously there could be some grants coming in, just like my NRF grant that I used to actually start this research podcast. But I focus mainly on the goal, and the goal is to educate the global community. And so this is why I decided, let me rather step back instead of stepping into it, because I don't want to open this door where I constantly pay people in order to exploit their material on YouTube. And so all I decided was, okay, the best thing here is to simply not list any of my videos on YouTube or on any other platform for subscription purposes. Everything is free. It started out free anyway, and there's no commercialization that's going to take place. So I went on a search to find people who are going to actually speak to us about image rights protection in Uganda, Kenya, Nigeria, and Ethiopia. And I had some really brilliant conversations with these colleagues, and I look forward to working with them in future in the form of written publication as well, because I believe that the work that they're contributing to is really impactful today. And I feel these are the voices that need to come out in this image rights space and in the broader space of ICT law, as well as data protection issues on social media. And so I hope you enjoy this season, and I hope you can also give me advice about what do I do in situations where someone says, look, you're going to exploit my material, you're going to exploit my image on your podcast, and so you have to pay me some form of honorarium, or when you do get paid, I need to get a share. How do I deal with this issue in future in a better way if you feel that I haven't dealt with it properly? But I think it was more amicable to say, no, thank you, I can't pay you because I can't. And then say, okay, maybe later when I have the kind of muscle to pay people for interviews, I'll call you in. But I'm also scared of opening that door of paying people for interviews. So I'm hoping to find some advice from other podcasters about how do they deal with the ethical issues around paying people to do podcast interviews, especially for a podcast that is about education. So I hope you enjoyed this season. Remember to control your image rights.